Literature Timeline. Pre-colonial period on 1564. Most literary works during the pre-colonial period were passed down by word of mouth. This form of transmission is called oral tradition, but in some cases, our ancestors were able to make use of a writing system dependent on some works of literature. The mythological age. This is the period when our ancestors told stories about the creation of human beings and the world, natural phenomena and deities and spirits. Heroic age. In this period, the characters in stories evolve, ordinary mortals and cultural heroes become the chief subject in this period. Epics become a popular genre. They were chanted during important events in the community to inspire people. These were also performed to remind the community of their ideals and values. Baybayin is a writing system derived from Kavi, a Javanese Indonesian. Script could leap. Symbols represented different vowel sounds. Myths. These are stories that makes use of gods, goddesses, and other fantastical creatures as characters. This became a means for our ancestors to explain the occurrence of supernatural events, the beginning of cultural tradition, and the existence of mysteries. A myth may also attempt to explain the origin of the world and of the people. Legends, believed to be historical but cannot be verified as true. Legends are stories handed down through generations. These stories are often about famous persons or events. These may tell of an encounter with marvelous creatures, which the folk still believe in. Fairies, ghosts, water spirits, the devil, and the like. Below is the legend how the angel built Lake Lanao of the Marat House. This version is narrated by Gregorio F. Zaide and Mamitua Saber. Folktales. Folktales are prose narratives usually told to amuse or entertain. These are also instructional in nature, dealing with events set in an indefinite time and space. Examples of folktales are animal tales or fables and magical tales such as The Monkey and the Turtle and the story of the orphan girl. Epics. An epic is a long narrative poem that describes the adventures of a hero, warrior, god, or king. It is influenced by the traditions, culture, beliefs, moral code, and attitude of the people who created it. Proverbs and riddles. Proverbs or salawikain are short sayings enveloped in rhymed verse that are meant to give advice to the young, offering words of wisdom or stating how one should live. Below are some of the sayings that reflect Filipino values and ideologies. Riddles. Riddles, logically called buktong, are perplexing questions that meant to be guessed or solved. These are used for entertainment, and they require one to observe, analyze, and imagine to provide the right answer.
Spanish colonial period 1565-1898. Spain had two motives in colonizing the Philippines. 1. Spice trade. 2. More valuable than gold, spices were the leading component of Asian commerce even before the 15th century. Spain, along with other European countries, founded expedition in search of cinnamon, clove, ginger, turmeric, and other prized commodities. 3. Converting Filipinos to Christianity. 4. The Spaniards used a policy called reduction, which it means the recollection of scattered settlements to a large town. This way, Spanish friars were able to convert natives into Christianity. Spanish influence on Philippine literature. The first Filipino alphabet, called Alibata, was replaced by the Roman alphabet. Religious practices become based on teachings of Christian doctrine. The Spanish language, which became the literary language, during this time lent man its word to our language. European legends and tradition brought become assimilated in our songs, corridors, moromoros. Ancient literature was called and translated to Tagalog and other dialects. Our periodicals during the Spanish colonization gained a religious tone. The development of poetry. Philippine poems during the pre-colonial period highlights epics, riddles, folk songs, and proverbs that depicted in spiritual beliefs and everyday lives of natives, while poetry under the Spanish colonial period focused on religion and values, which become instruments in spreading Christianity in Spanish-oriented culture. A Ladino poem is a bilingual poem with religious themes and characterized by alternating lines of verses in Tagalog and Spanish. The term Ladino also refers to the Filipinos who were fluent in both Spanish and Filipino. Types of poem during the Spanish colonial period. Poetic forms that emerged during the Spanish colonial period include Passion. This narrative poem about the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. It was replaced the pre-colonial oral tradition that the Filipino had since Passion is recited in church and consists of 5-line stanzas with 8 syllables per line. The earliest known Passion is the Ang Mahal ng Passion and Jesu Cristo, Panginoon natin na tulain, 1704.
The development of prose during the pre-colonial period. Natives created stories about the supernatural creatures, spirits, deities, and even the origin of things. However, during the Spanish colonization, Spanish friars attempted to eliminate these stories and replace them with the religious ones to convert natives to Christianity. Spanish missionaries published meditation, translation, and studies in the Philippine language. The American colonial period on 1898 to 1956. The American colonial period in the Philippines was also the time when the knowledge and information became increasingly accessible to more Filipinos. The use of the English language as a mode of instruction in schools paved the way for more Filipinos to learn and utilize the language in various forms of communication, especially in writing. Japanese occupation from 1941 to 1945. During the World War I-II, the Philippines was occupied by the Japanese from 1941 to 1945. During the war between Japan and the United States, President Manuel L. Quezon and General Douglas MacArthur fled to the US before leaving. MacArthur made a promise, "I shall return." He came back to Leyte in 1944. The fall of Bataante and the death march were source of the final major battles of the Japanese invasions. The impact of the Japanese occupation on literature. Filipino literature in English was limited. Philippine literature in general flourished in this period, especially those that were written in Tagalog and other Philippines language. English plays during this period were translated into Filipino or the vernacular. Post-war Philippine literature, 1945 to 1970. Filipino writers during the post-war period, Macario Pineda, wrote and published Ang Ginto sa Makiling in 1946, which is the first Philippine literary work after World War II. The writer employed fantastic elements in the narrative, although he was suggesting something that occurred in a realistic sense. The work depicted a quest as the characters find out the mystery behind the Makiling. Stefan Javelina in 1947 published his work Without Seeing the Dawn, which is about the experience of Filipinos before and during World War II. That's all, thank you.